Hi all, someone suggested a run of Black 2 with fighting types, and it's been a long time since I've played this game, so I figured why not. Rules are, if a Pokemon faints, it cannot be used again. You must catch the first Pokemon of the type on every route. No items can be used in battle, including held items. You cannot overlevel past the gym leader's highest Pokemon. You must play on set mode. Cannot use one more Pokemon than you have badges. Now that we have that, let's get into it. I pick Tepig, and although they aren't fighting type yet, they will be. The first battle, he manages to smash through the Oshawott with the help of a crit, and that gives us the first win. Afterwards, we head on to Flossy Ranch. Because of its encounter rate, we spend a little bit of time finding and catching a Riolu. After this, we have another battle with the rival, and Oshawott hasn't yet learned any water type moves, meaning we can easily give him another schooling with Tepig. Now we go on to save a dog from a pirate. Yes, I said pirate. If you want to argue otherwise, you'll have to convince me that that isn't a pirate hat on his head. We then move on to the first gym where I start off with Tepig. I decide that Ember's going to be the best move against him, and it does cause him to go low in only 2 hits. But this causes him to heal, which in turn means it's going to take me another 3 to take it out. After this, Lilpup comes out, and we need to hope it just opts for workup so we don't get taken out. This isn't what happens though, as on its second turn, it decides to hit us with tackle, takes us out, and we need to reset. On this next run, I decide that I actually want to use Riolu in this battle because at least it has a fighting type move. I start off by using counter, which does some decent damage. I then opt to use quick attack, as counter would mean I would need to take damage. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to take it out, so I take that damage anyway. It has healed at this point, but I can get 2 quick attacks off before it manages to get another strike on us. However, I'm pretty low for the Lilpup, where I use counter, and it fails because the Lilpup is using workup. I then go for counter, as it's definitely going to hit us, and I might survive on the off chance, but I'm pretty confident we're going to be taken out. Thankfully, we survive it on just 1 health, and thanks to it doing amazing damage to us, we can one-shot this bugger. Who knew a normal gym would actually be somewhat difficult in a fighting type run? Not much happens between the first and second gym, so we'll skip straight to it. And at this point, Mike has evolved into a Pig Knight. I decide to use Fire Charge for the coughing, as it's quite bulky, it does take 3. However, it doesn't really manage to damage us, so we're in a good position when the Whirlipede comes out. Now, Whirlipede is weak to fire, however my first Fire Charge does get me poisoned, and I do get hit with a Venushot. Mike just managed to hang on though, meaning we could get 1 more Fire Charge off and grab that second gym badge. We then get to go on a little boat trip. Don't ask me why they're giving 10-year-olds free tickets, it doesn't make sense to me either. Now we're at the third gym, this one being a bug type, and we have Pig Knight who's a fire type, and the ace is a Leavanny, which is weak because it's grass and bug. The Swadloon goes down in one shot, as I'm sure you're expecting. The Dwebble then comes out, and an arm thrust doesn't do much damage, so I actually switched to using Flame Charge against it. It only takes 2 of these to manage to take it down, and then we have the Leavanny. This meets the exact same fate as the Swadloon, so we now have our 3rd gym badge. First one we didn't get low health on, woo! After that, I run into a guy with Dr. Doolittle's powers, and he decides once he's told a bunch of Pokemon to move, that he wants to battle us. However, I'm not sure he was entirely given the memo, as he only has 2 steel types, and since we have a fire type, we make incredibly short work of the man. I honestly wouldn't have bothered if I was him, but hey ho. Now we can move on to the fairground, where I take a Ferris wheel with a girl and she gets sticky. Please can none of you tell my girlfriend about this? After this, we head on to the next gym to take on Elisa. She starts off with a Molga, and I debut my Lucario here. Emolga then uses Volt Switch, which switches in her Zebstrika. However, this is a bad move, as I've taught old Bruiser here dig, and we only need 2 of them to take the Zebstrika out. We then see Fluffy, and it's far weaker than Zebstrika, so all it takes is 1 dig, and that's gone. Now finally we see the return of Emolga. Now dig won't do any damage because of its flying type, and my fighting moves aren't going to do much either. I opt for Metal Sound to lower its defense because of this. After that, I know I'm in range of a crit, so I decide to switch into Mike. Now, I start off with a fire charge, but at this point it has got 2 hits off on me and I am decently low. At this point, I know my only chance of winning is to opt for a rollout. Thankfully, it does hit twice and we manage to get knocked down to just 4 health, but we do win because of this. That gym was actually a lot harder than I was expecting. After this, I head on to a forest to catch Heracross, and Bulbapedia claims this is a 5% encounter. However, I firmly believe they're lying because it must have been around 50 encounters before I was finally able to find and catch this bloody thing. Next up, we have some biker Charles who needs dealing with as he's blocking off a route. However, this was a rotation battle and it was actually unexpected as I had my HM Pokemon on me, which is a bit of a pain as it means we've only got 2 Pokemon we can actually use, and my Heracross does take some decent damage before he's even had chance to be properly used. But thankfully it wasn't a triple battle as we would have lost him if it had have been, and we beat him and he goes running away like a little baby. Next up we have the battle against Clay. I start off with Bruce. I know this seems like a silly thing, but I'm actually expecting him to solo his entire gym with his fighting type moves. I'm right about this for the Krokorok as it does get one shot. The Sandslash I expect will need a metal sound before I can take it out, so I use that against him, but he actually does way more damage than I expected, so I switch in to Evander. Now, he does get a hit off, but it's nowhere near what I was expecting, so I decide I'm going to switch into Mike as I know he won't use a Bulldoze as it would be weak against Evander. I do get a Flame Charge off, but it does knock me to 2 HP on the exact same turn. However, now I know I'm faster than it, so it just takes 1 more hit to take it out. He then switches into Excadrill, so I switch back into Evander, and although he does get a pretty heavy hit off on us, all it takes is 1 Brick Break and we've managed to gain yet another gym badge. We then enter into a competition to see who's the best Pokemon trainer, and quite honestly, I think it was unfair as I decimated everyone. So, this clearly means I'm the best Pokemon player of all time, right? With that done, we head on to Relic Passage and acquire ourselves a Girder. And now we have the Flying type gym, which is a gym I feared for obvious reasons. I decide the best one to start off with is Bruce, as Flying is actually neutral to him. And I use this opportunity to set up a Swords Dance. Once this is done, I do get an Attract thrown on me, and I barely damage it with a Force Palm, but I do paralyze it. I do get immobilized on my next turn and it does damage me with a Heart Stamp. Thankfully though, the turn after I'm able to use my Me First and I actually steal Acrobatics from it. Thanks to the no items clause on that move, it's incredibly powerful and takes it out with ease. Swanna then comes out and I use a Force Palm against it hoping for a Paralyze, but I don't get it. I know I'm not going to finish it off with another one, so I decide to use Me First to steal its move as it's a physical move. That's 2 Pokemon that I've taken down with their own moves now. Now, Skarmory does come out next, and I know Bruce will not take another hit, so I switch into Mike. It did use Air Cutter, but it didn't actually do too much damage to us, and now I've got a Fire type, I can actually use Flame Charge, which is super effective. It goes for Agility on the next turn while I knock it into healing range. And that means I can get a free hit off and I'm actually faster than her now. And she keeps going for Agility. I'm assuming it's trying to counteract the speed difference, but I'm not entirely sure as it's quite a bad play. If any of you guys do actually know the reason for it, I'd love for you to let me know so I can get a better understanding of the game. However, because of this I can take it down, and honestly, this gym was actually quite easy and not at all what I expected. After we beat her, she lets us take her plane and we do end up in a desert. Now, I'm a champion and I should be living a life of luxury, so this seems a bit unfair that I have to be in a desert. Now that we've made it far enough, we can catch another Pokemon, and that Pokemon being Mindfu. Now we have to do another rival fight, and Unpheasant starts off using Taunt on us, but since I was only planning on using Force Palm anyway, it really doesn't matter. I then take it down and the Samurott goes down in only 2 Force Palms, and it gets a Paralyze, meaning I'm actually damage free at this point. All that's left now is the Simisage, and that gets beaten just as the Unpheasant did. Rival fights really aren't tough in this game. Even if I didn't get that Paralyze, I wouldn't have lost this. Now we go on to encounter a Cobalion who is fighting type, so we can catch and make life easy for us. I'm just kidding, and honestly I can't believe I nearly risked losing some of my Pokemon for that joke. We then team up with Puny to take out Zillion. Now, he has Ice-type Pokemon, so they really aren't any trouble whatsoever, as Fighting-type moves will one-shot all of them, and we have backup being the Samurott, who does some really decent damage. I really can't figure out why they made both Colress and Zizzilian weak to the same type, but thankfully because I chose this challenge, it makes some battles incredibly easy. After this, we run into some guy on a bridge claiming to have a 999 win streak, and thinking we'll be his 1000th, but we quickly crush those dreams by showing him how a true trainer battles. I do not believe the 999 claim after this one, that's for sure. Then, as I'm walking down one of the routes, I see some sick horse. It's really green from some sort of illness. I decide to look the other way though, because surely someone will eventually take care of it. After this, we have another gym battle against Drayden, and I start off by setting up 2 sword stance, as if I do this, it can ensure that I will take every single one of his Pokemon out in only 1 hit. And because Dragon Pokemon are actually quite slow in general, we don't actually have to worry about this in the slightest. It's very rare that you don't have any trouble with a Dragon type trainer in a Pokemon game, to be honest. After that, some flying shit comes over and decides to make the town into an ice rink, assuming they realised how low tourism was and were just trying to help the area out. Zizzilian then tries to ruin our time on the ice rink, so we need to battle him again. Since he's ice type, I lead with Mike, as all his stab moves will be super effective. Now, Cryogonal is faster than us to begin with, but thankfully I've kept Flame Charge, and after one of these, we're now fast enough to outspeed the second one. All that's left once this is done is the Weavile, which has some decent defense on it compared to the Cryogonal, so it does take us 2 hits, but we do take it out. Once we've done this, we actually get to go to a really nice underwater tunnel and appreciate all the fish and Pokemon around us. This game does have some really good scenery, that is for sure. Then, even though Team Plasma are running amok and we're the ones that are supposed to be dealing with it, we actually have to take on another gym battle. I seriously don't get this bit of the game, because wouldn't it make sense to just have the Team Plasma battle come now and then do the final gym battle afterwards? Now, we do have the final gym battle here, and I decide to start off with my Girder because of the sturdy that Caracosta has. You'll notice I haven't leveled this guy up, and I do take his sturdy out with a chip away. That's because I couldn't actually think of another plan. I need to get 2 sword stance off with Lucario to manage to one-shot all of his Pokemon, and that means I kind of need to sack a Pokemon, otherwise I won't get that. It's a shame, but unfortunately we never actually managed to use the guy, and I didn't see him being much use anyway. Once this is done though, it is incredibly plain sailing, as Lucario will one-shot every single one of his Pokemon. Force Palms on the Caracosta and Wailord, and a dig on the Jellicent. Gotta say though, I'm disappointed with how few Pokemon this latter end gyms have, as it doesn't feel like it's much of a challenge. Now we confront Zizzilian again, and we find out he's using Kyurem to like power his ice beam thingy. Since we're paired up with Puny again, it actually doesn't go too badly. Jacket is pretty powerful at this point, and all of the Pokemon used in this battle are weak to fighting type moves, with the exception of the Scolipede, but I've taught Aerobatics, so that goes down due to the power that that move has. After this, we get kicked off the ship, and it gets taught Fly and escapes us. After then catching back up to them, we have a single fight with Zizzilian, and it turns out there is absolutely no worry for this fight. It's proper anticlimactic. As you guys can see, I didn't even need to heal my Emboar as I one-shot all of the Pokemon that he had. This freezes up to take on Colress, and I decide to start off with Mike off the bat again. I do this because I know it's going to paralyze us, and we've got Fire Charge to give ourselves speed boost to counteract the speed loss we get from being paralyzed. Unfortunately, it doesn't make much of a difference, as I do actually end up losing him to the Magnezone because a Discharge does some great damage. It's such a shame because he's been such a reliable and useful Pokemon. I didn't want to switch out here, as honestly he would have hit any of my Pokemon quite heavily, and I couldn't think of another move to do. Now Bruce comes out, and even though he full restored, it doesn't matter as it just takes 2 hits and it's knocked out. Once this happened, Klinklang comes out and we hit it with a Force Palm, which paralyzes it. However, this didn't matter as we're faster anyway, and it only takes 2 moves to finish it off. Finally, we see Beheem come out, but I've taught old Brucey boy Shadow Claw for this very Pokemon. I was expecting it to do decent damage to us, but it just uses a Calm Mind, meaning I can take it out and take no damage from it. Now, he sends out Matang, and I'll be honest, this is a bit scary as it takes me 3 Shadow Claws to take it out, but it will take us out in only 2 attacks. Fortunately, it uses Agility twice, meaning by the time it actually gets a hit off, it's too late to save itself. Then Magneton reappears, but we've got rid of its Sturdy, so 1 Force Palm and we've got this battle done. To be fair, I'm actually really glad with this battle as I did expect to lose something because that Matang is brutal. Next up, we have to smash down a Kyurem, and since it's Ice type, this is actually incredibly easy, but right after it, Getsis wants to fight us. I start up by setting 2 Swords Dance against the Kofaguris, and then I use a Shadow Claw to take it out. Because Swords Dance is such a wonderful advantage, I actually managed to one-shot every single Pokemon up until Toxicroak comes out. When the Toxicroak does actually come out though, I know I'm not going to one-shot it, but it will one-shot us, so I decide to bring in Jackie, as he will definitely be able to take him out with an Acrobatics. Now, all that's left is Hydreigon, and I know this thing will do major damage to us, so I actually use a Drain Punch, which takes me to full health. It then used a Dragon Rush, which does take us to the red and incredibly low, but it did take itself out, meaning we've won this battle. Now, we're ready for the Elite Four, but we only have 3 team members, but we do have 2 encounters we can catch. I run into Sork on Route 23, and then in the second outside area of Victory Road, I managed to grab myself a throw. At the end of Victory Road, we have the final fight against Punit, and he starts off with Unpheasant, so I start off with the one Pokemon that isn't weak to it. We use a Swords Dance and it swaggers us. However, at this point I can't switch out, as whatever Pokemon I switch out to, I know I'm going to lose. So I just have to go for a move and hope it hits through, which it does. Against the Bufalon, Confusion does actually wear off, which is quite lucky as that's only the second turn of having it. The Simisage goes just as easily as ever, and all that's left now is the Samurott. I don't one-shot it and it hits a Surf, which very nearly takes us out, but we have a speed advantage, so no matter what now, we've won this battle and we're ready for the Elite Four. First one we take on is Shauntal. Now, since Kofaguris tends to start off using Will-O-Wisp, I choose to start off with Jackie instead of Lucario, because even with Swords Dance, the burn damage halves our damage, making it tough to get through everything. I get an Aerobatics off, and I know it will go for a Psychic, so I actually switch into Bruce here, because now he's weak, we shouldn't see a Will-O-Wisp, meaning I can set up a Swords Dance. After we have that set up, we use a Shadow Claw to take it out. Then we do the exact same thing for both Chandelure and Golurk. The only issue now is Drifblim and its ability, as if we take it out, it will do a quarter damage to our health. Thankfully though, this only works out at around 45 damage, so I know we'll survive if we Shadow Claw and end it. Next up, we have Grimsley, who is the Dark type Elite Four member, so I decide to start off with Sork. This is because it knows Close Combat, which is an insanely good fighting type move. It takes down the Liepard in one hit, and since Bisharp is up next and it's 4 times weak to the move, it's not going to stand a chance versus it. Crocodile comes out, and even with the Intimidate, I'm confident I should one-shot, but it's faster than me. So that's it, we're taken out. Now, I'd actually forgot to heal my Pokemon up from the last battle, and that means Evander in his Brick Break is the best choice here. Finally, we're up against Scrafty, which lowers our speed with a Rock Slide, while I hit him into healing range with a Brick Break. He then heals up, while I hit another Brick Break. At this point, I get hit with a Poison Jab for little damage, which gives me a chance to hit him again and finish him off. Once that's done, we have the Psychic Gym Leader. My plan here was an insanely simple one. Musharna will want to use a Psychic type move. The only one it knows is Dream Eater, so it will use Yawn constantly. Therefore, I need to switch out my Pokemon 10 times in order to drain all the PP from this move. For the most part, I switch between Heracross and Lucario, but since I wanted Lucario out the moment the Yawns ran out, I actually switched to Mind Shower at one point to make sure that that would happen. Once this has happened, I know Charge Beam won't do much to us, so I can set up a couple of Swords Dance, as the only way it can finish me is with a double crit. From this point onwards, we just need to spam Shadow Claw as we outspeed every single one of her Pokemon. And we're set up, meaning we'll one-shot the lot of them, and since we have 100% accuracy, this battle's won. Now, we move on to the final Elite Four member, Marshal. I start off with Draki, who uses a workup, and since I have Aerobatics and there's a no item rule, this move's effect will take every one of his Pokemon out with the exception of one of them. Now, Throw does hit a Rock Slide, which does lower our speed, meaning that their Mind Shout is going to be faster than us. It uses Bounce, but I'm actually pretty confident that I can survive this if it isn't a critical hit. Not that it matters though, because it misses and we can take it out with one Aerobatics. Now, Conkeldurr is a pretty bulky Pokemon, but with 110 base power move and attack plus, it doesn't stand a single chance. Sork is up last, and because of its sturdy, it does manage to get a hit off on us, and it knocks us low enough to the point where I feel I need to switch out. Evander makes the most sense as it does actually have Aerial Ace. It hits a Rock Slide which flinches me, and then it misses one so I can hit it. And then it flinches me on the next one, like 30% chance. I do not believe that. I know I can survive one more hit as long as it doesn't flinch. So I go for it. Thankfully it misses again, and we get the final hit off, meaning we can take on the champion. Now, Lucario does have Ice Punch from the move tutor, but her starting Pokemon is Hydreigon with Flamethrower, and if it hits me with that, I'll be too low to do anything to the Focus Sash Haxorus. So I choose to start off with Throw. It has Super Power, which is an amazing fighting type move. The only downside is it lowers your attack. It does easily one-shot the Hydreigon though. Because of this downside, it doesn't actually do much to the Druddigon, so I opt to switch to Circle Throw to bring out another Pokemon, and that one is Aggron. Now, because Throw is basically a snail, it's actually faster than us, and it does take us out with one Double Edge. Since Lucario is actually weak to its moves, I don't want to set up with him against the Aggron, therefore I choose Jackie to come out for the time being. I opt for Force Palm instead of Drain Punch, as I actually expected either one of these moves to one-shot, being 4 times and all, but it didn't. It did paralyze and stop him moving, so it didn't screw me over too much. Since it's in healing range though, I decide to use a Workup, as I know if I do that I'll one-shot it with my next move. Next up, Druddigon comes back out, but since it's already had half its health taken out, we don't have to worry too much, and one Aerobatics takes it out. Now we have Archeops with Aerobatics itself, and as sad as it is, none of my Pokemon will take this hit, so I need to hope it goes for something else and try and take it out with my own move. Unfortunately, it doesn't, and that's the end of Jackie. It's such a shame, they've been such an integral member of the team. Now, Bruce will manage to survive one attack, and he does have Ice Punch, so I use this opportunity to set up a Swords Dance and then take it out with an Ice Punch, but it has knocked me low at this point. Now, Haxorus comes out, and I know it's going to survive the Ice Punch because it does have the Focus Sash, but there's literally nothing else I can do, so I have to take an Earthquake from him and I get finished off. Heracross then comes out, and for some reason, she actually attacked me with Dual Chop, which took me low. I was expecting her to heal, and then maybe I would have had a bit more of a chance, but unfortunately she has done that, but I do take it out because it's only on 1 health. At this point I'm low. Now Lapras is a pretty strong Pokemon, so it will survive my Cross Chop and it'll use an Ice Beam to take me out. Oh, wait, never mind, I'm on 5 health. This means it's won. 1 Brick Break and it's over. I genuinely thought I was gone there, but thankfully we were just bulky enough to the point of surviving it, and we actually did it. Now, I want to take a minute here and thank you guys for all the support on the last few videos. We've reached 500 subs. Now, a month ago we were only at 20. The support over the past few weeks has been insane, and I really appreciate you all being so welcoming and helpful. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, as it really helps me out spreading these videos further and widening the discussions to more people. Leave any suggestions below as to runs you might like to see, and after all, that's how this one became a thing. Finally, subscribe to see content like this. I hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.